What's up guys, Aaron Bennett here. In this video, I'm going to talk about Celsius Network, give you guys the updates on everything that's going on. There's been a lot of drama going on Twitter. We had Mike Alfred, kind of like an influencer on Twitter, basically run a story saying that he allegedly heard that Alex was leaving the country, going to Israel, but he got stopped at the airport and maybe was arrested. So this got picked up by all these other news stories. I'm going to cover that fully. Just go in here on the computer. Here's some tweets kind of going over what happened with Mike's story. It got picked up by Watcher Guru, which has over 1 million followers. And after I go over the latest Celsius drama, I'm going to talk a little bit about Mark Cuban, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about Mike Novogratz predicting a recession. So let's go ahead and start out actually by going over a couple charts. This is the 4-year moving average for Bitcoin. So we can see here that Bitcoin is well below the 4-year moving average, which has historically been a really, really good buying opportunity. So you can see the times all the way going back to 2013 that Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin has gone below this light blue line. And every time that's happened, we've seen a massive rally after. So it happened here, March of 2020. Obviously, we know what happened after that. And here we are well below the average right now. Now, the difference right now is we are probably going into a global recession, and Bitcoin has never existed within a recession. And taking a look at this chart also showing that the price of Bitcoin is below the oversold mark. So you can see that anytime the price of Bitcoin, which is the white line, drops below the lowest green line right here, you can see that the price of Bitcoin then goes up. We saw that almost touch in March of 2020 right here. And then the price of Bitcoin obviously went up a ton. So I'm going to go through a couple tweets and stories and publications talking all about the latest drama with Celsius. So starting with Plan C, he says the crypto news outlets are a complete joke and a disgrace. Some random Twitter bro, talking about Mike Alfred, made up a story, backed it up with no evidence, and deleted his post. He posted it as breaking news, and then a bunch of crypto news outlets, including Watcher Guru, which again, Watcher Guru has 1.1 million followers, picked up the story. So basically this is what happened. This guy, Mr. Business, no idea who this is, says, I can confirm Mashinsky was detained by, I think, the Fed Friday at Morristown Airport. I don't know if he was arrested or not, but he was indeed prevented from leaving the country. Then Mike Alfred, which Mike Alfred has been basically saying Celsius is insolvent, illiquid, a scam for the last 1 to 2 months. He's basically been one of the forefront people encouraging people to get their money out of Celsius. A lot of people will attribute him and Dylan and some of these other big influencers on Twitter that they caused this massive bank run. So how that relates to this is that a lot of people hate him who are in Celsius, because he was one of the main people for months calling out Celsius, telling everybody to get their money out well before they stopped withdrawals. So Mike says, the thing that I keep thinking is that Mashinsky has almost certainly been contacted by the FBI already. He may have even been picked up, questioned, and released. So what Mike is doing is making allegations and basically making stuff up. There's no evidence, there's no proof, and this is all him basically creating more fear around Celsius. It's literally just making up stuff. And then you're getting publications like here, Crypto Briefing, saying Celsius denies CEO Mashinsky tried to leave the US. So basically, Celsius came out and said, no, Alex did not attempt to leave the United States. So there are stories that have been started from one guy on Twitter reading another tweet saying that Alex left the country or tried to leave the country and he was detained by the feds or whatever. And now Celsius says that's complete crap. So what we're getting right now is a complete shit show. There is like a vacuum of information, a lack of information from Celsius. So we're getting everybody and their mother and their grandma making shit up basically to fill this void, because what we're getting is complete radio silence from Celsius, which really freaking sucks. And I typed in Mashinsky Israel on Google, and you can see all of the different stories. Celsius CEO arrested. Basically all of these stories over the last few days from all these different publications and news outlets are talking about it. because it's drama. And why they're able to do this is that Celsius is being really lazy right now with not coming out and being really aggressive and really putting down this FUD. Like, they could defend all of this if they wanted to, and whatever's going on legally with their lawyers and all this stuff behind the scenes, that is probably what's causing this lack of information. But that's really an issue, and I've been talking about that since this started like 2.5 weeks ago. So just a quick story from Mark Cuban about Bitcoin. Basically, he says the challenge with Bitcoin is there's not enough utility. Now, that's not really necessary for Bitcoin, just from my perspective. You don't need utility to be the most pristine store of value. That is all the utility it needs. So here's what Mike Novogratz says. Basically, we're going to see an economic downturn through the end of 2023. So we have like 18 months, which is kind of a long time, but I think he's right. He also says that there's going to be more regulatory crackdowns on DeFi, noting what happened with BlockFi and Voyager and Celsius and a lot of these things that, you know, the investors didn't quite know all the leverage they were taking or exactly what they were doing. Obviously, I'm still very hopeful with Celsius. I haven't lost hope on that, but I think there's going to be a lot more regulations because obviously people were not very clear about what was going on, and there was a lot of ambiguity here. And also looking at what happened with Three Arrows Capital, how they basically are bankrupt now, and how that interconnectedness with BlockFi and Voyager and Celsius, and probably many, many others that we don't even know about, those will begin to unravel as debts are unable to be repaid. And I don't think we're at the end of this, guys. So I'll end the video with a summary. Bitcoin is going to go down to lower lows. That is what I think. I think as the economy officially enters a recession, I think as the housing market most likely goes down, just like the stock market has, I think there's a lot of things that are going to happen that are going to drive people to cash even more in the short term. So I would not be surprised to see an even lower Bitcoin. Now, I do think right now for Bitcoin and a lot of these top altcoins, these are great prices over the next 3 to 5 years, but you have to have a long time frame. Blockchain tech is not going anywhere, and the great projects are going to be here. If you want to be safe, Bitcoin, Ethereum are going to be here. A lot of these altcoins that were heavily funded by venture capital, like Solana, they may or may not be here in 10 years. I don't know. I mean, nobody can really predict that. But for Bitcoin, I have full certainty it's going to be larger and worth more US dollars in 5 to 10 years, no doubt. And regarding Celsius, I am still holding out, and I am still hopeful that they will figure it out, and us, the depositors, are going to get our crypto back. Now, I am in the exact same position as you. I have no special treatment. My crypto is not on a higher level than yours is. If there is some sort of bankruptcy proceedings that occur, whatever happens, I want you to know that despite making these videos, I am in the exact same place as you. I am not some like special ambassador with, you know, unique privileges or on a payroll or any of that crap. I am exactly in the same place as you. My crypto is sitting in the exact same place as yours is. Celsius, if they want to restore and regain any sense of trust, really needs to start talking about what's happening behind the scenes and how they're going to fix it. The lack of communication is what's driving people like Mike Alfred to share a story of something that he heard with no proof, and then a lot of other Twitter accounts and crypto news stations start basically repeating the same story. It's like that game Telephone that you play when you were a kid, and then by the time it gets to the 10th person, it's a completely different story. And then basically it's like Alex was running naked through the airport. He was tackled by his wife, Chrissy, and then 5 FBI agents came, and then they all danced the Macarena. I don't know. Like, they need to have some communication with us, because that's what we're missing, guys. So I'll end the video there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of this, and I'm with you every step of the way. All right, guys, talk to you soon, and bye for now.